Come
You
on,
can't win.
Tiffany. You know and I was just about to say that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know, you can't do enough for what people want you to say. Now, I didn't. I read North. I happened to check out North American divisions, and I saw North American divisions, and the difference with
Right.
it is that I know him, so I know his
Hmm.
sincerity. I know.
Right.
I know him as a person. So, I was on a
Hmm.
call last night where somebody was talking about him. Uh, um, Actually, I had spoken for, and they had a question and answering after that. And I mean, they were kind of going in on him. But you see, the thing is that I know him, and I
Right.
know who he is, and I know what he's not black, but I know who he is, and I
Yeah,
just
he's a Christian.
oh, definitely, definitely, definitely. I mean, you're not going to be able to. One of the things we're not going to be able to do is solve the situation. We're
Right.
we're never going to get our we're not going to solve it, number one, because we need to come together, and that's one of the things that
Right.
you know we can name 1,000 things that we can do to make this happen. But the bottom line is that if we don't come together and be like one sound or one drum, I don't see it, Tiffany. I got to be honest with you. I just don't see it. I don't think black men should be killed, a knee in the neck or whatever the case may be. But I do think that we need to rise above. And there's one way, Tiff, that I would share with you. The one thing I think is valuable that we need to take the time to know our political leaders. We need to take
Hmm.
the time to get people to vote, expose our leaders who are not doing their jobs as far as the community is concerned. Sit on our HOA committees, um, um,
Hmm.
just like what your husband is doing right now, right? Pastor Orville Brissett, what is he doing right now? He's sitting amongst the clergy in his area, where some people would have a problem with him sitting with Baptist clergy or sitting with Pentecostal clergy, etc. But if you want certain things
Right.
to get done, it's the only way to get it done. It's the only way
Right.
to get it done. So
Well,
I,
that was my 2 cents, man. I was just testing your line.
yep, it's working. It just
It works, everybody.
it works. So anybody you can call in. I wanted to set this up. We really wanted to talk about where to go with our young people in this
Right.
situation. And I wasn't because when we planned this, we didn't have this situation that came out. We wanted to talk about rebuilding AYS. We wanted to talk about
Mm.
rebuilding our federations, etc. That's what we wanted to get going. But I felt that it was an opportunity right now that anybody who just wanted to talk through it or speak through it or I just felt I'll open it up to our conference and our people to be able just to talk and that's why I put it out. I think I started a little bit late. It's supposed to have been 7 o'clock, but I started a little bit late.
And
But
it's Zoom and online service overload, man. It's
you
so much going on online. So
listen,
many discussions, so many forums.
listen,
It's like
listen. You don't
crazy.
even know what to do next with it. You don't even know
Right.
what to do next or who to bump in. And to tell you the truth, most of it's good. It's just like all coming at you at
It's a
one
good
time.
problem. It's a great problem.
Right.
At least we have people that are addressing the issues and
Sure.
talking about it, and churches are coming together talking about it. So it's a good thing, but it's just overload.
It is. It's like you're too young for this, Tiffany, but it's like when cable first came out. Um, I remember when cable first came out, and it was just like, wait a minute, 700 channels?
You're right. I am too young for
Yeah,
this.
you too young. You too young. You were
I'm
born.
way too young for this.
You you were born. You were born with cable was already out. I remember when we only had about 7 channels. So I get it. I get it.
I
Anyway,
do remember when the national anthem used to play at night to sign off the TV. I do remember that.
all right. So you
But
so so you got a little gray in you then. You got a little bit of gray.
yeah,
You got a
I
little
have
bit
a
of
few
gray.
grays.
Oh, but it's true.
But this is for the young people. It's not for people with grades. So I'm gonna get off the line. I
Nah,
just hopped
you
on just
can.
so
You
people can
can.
see that your phone line is working.
Gotcha.
Call
Thanks.
Pastor Graham. Talk your issues out with him.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
signing off.
Yeah. See you, girl. Have a good one. Have a good one.
All right. Take care, man.
All right. Yep. So I just wanted to excellent. Thanks. I really appreciate it, Tiffany, for calling in. There are those of you who are listening right now that you may have something that you want to say or something that you want to add to what's actually going on in this crazy world. You have that opportunity right now. So give me a call at 301. Again, it's 301-969-8375. Again, phone number is 969, area code 301-969-8375. Some people are calling and hanging up. Don't be shy. You go ahead and call in, say whatever you have to say. You don't even have to tell me your name, but just go ahead and speak and speak your piece and speak your piece. Had not had the opportunity of watching the news. I had not had the opportunity of checking out what is actually going on. Many times I pick up my phone and I'll look at Facebook and see certain things that's going on. But I want to go ahead and deal with it. Go ahead and look at it. Those of you who might have been watching or keeping to the news, just give us a call. Give us a quick call at 301-969. Again, 969 is 8375. 8375. Well, while I still have you on the line here, waiting for a phone call to come in, basically one of the first things that we wanted to do, again, is to rebuild. And I think a great thing, even though I was coming and talking about rebuilding AYS or rebuilding federations, and this is in our thing, I believe that we also should be building community. Again, thanks, Tiffany, for the call in. Okay, we have another call that's coming in that's ending with 75. If your number is ending with 75, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that's my phone number.
Yeah, it's okay. Don't even worry about it. It's okay. Go ahead. We just want you to sound off. We're just opening the lines for those who just wanted to just talk. You have the opportunity. I'll give you a couple of minutes. What's your thoughts?
But my question is,
Sure.
I'm just concerned that we're doing all of this online right now,
Sure.
and we're making our kids look at stuff online, doing stuff online. It's going to be a hard adjustment to go back to what we think is normal. I know we might not have a normal as per se what we're used to having,
Right.
but to me, I think it's a concern that I would have to get my kids back into, you know what I'm saying, like physical going to church.
Yeah.
We're used to watching everything online right now. It's like, okay, we could get up in the morning and, get ourselves together. We don't have like a time frame. We just know services on at 12 o'clock, depending on what service you listen to.
That's right.
So it's going to be like a hard adjustment, I think. At least for my kids,
Sure.
I can see it now happening.
It's your kids. Your kids are small kids, or
I have a 14-year-old and I have a 8-year-old.
oh my goodness. And so if you're
Yes.
talking about, listen, I'm going to tell you now, and people may disagree with me. Church will, to me, I cannot see church ever being the same again. Of course, there are different magnitudes that have occurred in 9/11, and look how different 9/11 has been since. I said, look how different things have been since 9/11. I remember 9/11, the first Wednesday night prayer meeting that came about. The church was as full as it was on a Sabbath. People thought, this is it. But I agree with you 100%. It's going to be difficult for them. I was just talking to a bunch of kids just now from the ages of 13 to 17. And they're already on a school overload. You know what I mean? They're already
Yes.
on an online overload.
I'm
So,
on an overload with them doing online school right now.
and here's the thing. Here, listen to what you're saying. That's something that I didn't get to even think about. See, my children, I say children, but my children are grown. But when you're dealing with still middle school, you're dealing with 8-year-old, you have to hover around them while they're in school. So now you're at home, working at home.
Yeah.
Everything is going on at home. But as far as church is concerned, this is just my opinion towards this. If church remains the same, we have to learn to do things differently. But if church remains the same, then we have done something wrong. We have definitely done something wrong. And we have to get used to that. Remember, the only thing that hasn't changed is the principles of God. Am I correct?
Yes.
Right. So if the principles of God have not changed, then we have to find new ways of having to deal with something that is a standstill principles. It cannot move. So you're right. Does that mean that Sabbath school may have to be a little bit earlier, or not earlier, have to be a little bit later? Does that mean AY will be during the week? Things have changed. You're right. Even in 2 months, things have changed. I can't see it all going back the same way. What do you imagine it looking like? Just in your mind's eye, what do you imagine it looking like?
I really haven't gone that far yet, because
Right.
I'm still hoping that when this is all said and done, that there is some type of normalcy. At least we expect it to be to a certain extent this way. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like I
right.
really haven't thought of, okay, so how is church service going to look after this is said and done? I really haven't gotten to that point as to what I should expect versus what I'm used to. I know that's totally going to change, definitely going to change. But I just haven't like physically in my mind put it together like, oh my goodness, like what we know as church is not going to be church, and my kids going to have to get used to that idea as well. So I really haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah, well, listen, there's one thing. I go back to the principles of God. Still stay on it. Still understand that you have to grow your kids in the admonition of God's grace and mercy. You still have to do the right thing as far as that's concerned. What I have learned through all of this is that you don't have to serve him in a building. Fellowship is good.
True.
But you don't have to serve him in a building. And I do think that it's time for the church now to deal with the community aspect. Can I just share this one thing with you while we have you on the air? I know another call is coming in, but I want to share this with you. When I was growing up, the majority of the people that went to church where I was going to church lived in the community. They lived in that community. Right. Or you can get there in 8-9 minutes, even if you drove. Nowadays, the majority of the people that go to church, they live so far away. They pass 10-15 churches before they get to that church. You know what I mean?
Right.
Can you imagine? So in my estimation, one of the ways that things are, why I see things changing, and believe it or not, in some cases for the better, we're able to stay in our communities, being able to stay where we are and be uncomfortable with learning how to help out the community. That's what the church is for. The sad part about this, my lady, is this. Can you think about the communities that as our churches are closed, they haven't missed you? You see that
They have.
Well, I could say that there are churches that they don't do anything in the community. So because it's closed, I'm not saying yours, I don't know what your church is. There are churches, there are communities who haven't missed their church because they haven't been doing anything in the community anyway. I'm just go both ways with it. Right now, there are churches, though, that have been in the community that they have to continue doing what they're doing because their community missed them. Right. So basically, this is my point to it. We have to find like you said, we're going to have to get used to a new normal. Do you remember, I don't know how young you are, but do you remember what it was like when your parents could walk with you to the gate at the airport, or you could walk, or or they could cook something for you, or you could bring a sandwich on the plane, or you could bring juice on the plane or whatever. Those things have now changed. And we've learned to live with those changes. We're going to have to learn to live with these changes also. Now, as far as your children are concerned, listen, stay on top of them. Stay on top of them with the word. Have family worship. Have discussions with them. They're resilient. We're the ones that need to go through a lot of these changes. They can handle the changes. Trust me, they can. But just make sure that the change that they go through, that they will not lose their faith or their relationship with God. That I think is one of the most important. Listen, thanks for calling in. I really appreciate it. Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank
No
you.
problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Thank you. We are looking at your number is ending in 28. Your number is ending in 28. Go ahead. You're on the air. Go ahead. 28. You're on the air. I'm calling out
Hello?
your last number. Go ahead. You're on the air. Hello?
Hi.
I can hear you. Don't listen to the radio. Don't listen to your computer. Listen to me, because that's behind.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I just have. Thank you for taking the call.
No problem.
I just have a two-part question.
Okay.
The first part of the question is, with everything that's going on with, what we're seeing on the news with George Floyd.
Yes.
Young people, we're, anxious and we are angry at what we're seeing.
Sure.
What should the church's response be to what's going on? That's the first part of the question.
Okay, let's hold that one. Go ahead.
The second part of the question is, the next step is, we see what's going on. What can we do? Like, what can we do to help? So what are some practical ways that young people can help? What are some things that leaders can encourage, our young people to do?
It's and I'm going to answer quickly as though I have the answer right at the top of the tip of my tongue, which the truth is that there are so many different ways to be able to handle this. But let me answer the first one, because I'm more of a professional in the first one than I am in the second one. And I'll tell you what I have learned in the past couple of days as far as this is concerned. First of all, the church's response. The response from our church should always be the response that you think Jesus' response would be. Okay. We are followers of Christ. We are Christians. So if Jesus were here now, what would his response be? And we have plenty of examples in the Bible of what he would do. And I'm not just going straight spiritual, but I'll bring it to where we are right now. Let's think of the traveler, if you know the word, the traveler, and who's got beaten up by thieves along the way, and the priest passed him first. And do you remember that story?
Yeah.
The story in the Bible. The thing is that even though he was a Samaritan, it's important for us to help our brethren. One. The second thing is that Jesus would have been more connected to social justice than anything else. I believe that remember he's always talked about the widow. He's always talked about those who were in prison. He's always talked about the poor, that we'll always have with us. So his mindset was always pushed in social justice, which eventually got him killed. All right. So what is the church's response should be? The church response. Now I'm going to talk about a local level. Let's go local. Let's not talk about, I suppose you're Adventist. So let's talk from an Adventist standpoint. Go ahead.
I know that from the Old Testament and into the New Testament, God talks repeatedly about how much, he hates, the oppression of his people, and he hates, injustice.
Sure.
So I know this is something that is near and dear to his heart,
Sure. And it's okay to be angry. Let me. I think we have a bad misconception that anytime a person is angry, that person sins. Now they come close to each other, but you can be angry and be justifiably angry. I'm angry, right. but what's so well? Let me finish. Let me finish the first part of your question. The church, the local church, needs to uplift the community. I see no problems in peaceful protests. I see no problems in young people gathering together. And the only reason why, I have to be honest with you, why I, as the youth director of our 5 states, the reason why I did not call for that is simply because of COVID. All right. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't want to put anybody in harm's way as far as that's concerned. So what would I do in this manner would not be for us to protest together, because we don't know what's going on with this COVID thing. That's number one. But let me go back. I do believe, though, that our leaders, our pastors, I believe that our church leaders need to encourage each other. Because one of the things that's hurtful out of all of this is that you could do the right thing being stopped by the police and still get killed. You could do the right thing and still get killed. All right. I don't like to watch the video, but he did the right thing and still got killed. So what we need to do is to be able to encourage each other. That's number one, because the only way that we're going to be able to have a calm spirit in days like this is to know that there's somebody bigger than us. Because I am angry. I have to be honest with you. I have 3 kids. 2 of them are boys, or I won't say boys, but they're men, 25 and 23 years old. I'm more frightened on them not coming home because of this, because of things like this. From the time that they got their driver's license at 16 and 17 years old, I've been telling them, put your hand on the wheel. Don't answer in a snazzy way. Already have your wallet on top of the dashboard before you get there. And they still die. They still get killed. They still get shot in the street. I thought they had this. So it's time for the church. Man, I think I might get in trouble for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's time for
in solidarity.
Yep. It's time for the church to make community changes. It's time for the church to stand together and speak as one. It's time for us not to have a blind eye to what's going on. It's time for us to speak up. And if we don't speak up, what we're really saying is it's okay. And that's what we have to recognize. If you don't say anything about it, you're complicit. And that's where it comes in. A friend of mine is saying to me, even right here online, it's time for us to be brave. It's time for us to be bold. It's time for us to, do you remember, there are a lot of people that lost their lives. There are a lot of people who were injured for civil rights in the 50s and the 60s that gave us the opportunity to do what we do now. And even now, my sister, we don't even go out there and vote. We don't even get out there and vote for our mayors. We don't go out there and vote for our superintendent of schools. We let everybody else do that. And then when this problem comes around, we're upset about this problem, when the truth is that it's something that we should always be doing. Even your HOA, those who live in these communities, and you live in an HOA, there's a lot of our HOA rules. Maybe I shouldn't have gone this far, but here we go. There are a lot of our HOA rules that's put together because they don't want blacks living in their neighborhood, or they don't want Mexicans living, Hispanics living in their neighborhood. So they set up all these type of rules and so forth. We're the ones that have to sit on those committees. So to make sure that there's fairness across the board. Watch this now, not only outside of our churches, but also inside of our churches, we're very unfair to each other, the way we treat each other. So you're right about that. When we talk about solidarity, we need to be able to come together and work together to make changes occur. I'm sorry. I know I'm holding you. I know I'm holding you, right? I'm the one that asked you to call.
Okay. We're just looking for, practical ways that, if a young, African American, male says, hey, what can I do? I'm angry. Which way do I direct my anger? Like, what's a productive way for me to move this conversation forward? Because, I don't want to, fall into whatever stereotypes might be out there, but I do want to affect change. So how do I, in a practical way, in my community, affect that change? All right,
and I could tell you this. Can we? This is what I was going to say that I got stumped on. In the 1930s, 1938, and I'm talking about the church right now, right? The African American was treated so bad even in our church, Adventist church, that we had to come out with regional conferences. Okay. Most of our regional conferences, really, it started in urban areas. It first started out of Chicago, moved from Chicago, Indianapolis, came down to the New York area, New York to Washington, D.C. That's why we have regional conferences takes up regions. It's not states, but it's bigger than states, because we didn't have the type of freedom to even worship. The radical type changes that happened in 1938. Actually, the first regional conference came out in 1945, I believe it was. Lake Region in the Chicago area, covers Detroit, all of those areas. Can you imagine what it was like when black people got together and said, hey, we're not leaving the Adventist church. What we're doing is supporting each other in the Adventist church. Those people put their lives together. They put their finances together. They tithed. I don't want to get into it, but they tithed to support the system. They did everything that they could do. And now we're at a point where, look at where we are right now in from 1940s to where we are right now. And we still have black people who say we should not have regional conferences. Are you understanding where I'm going with that right now? We get mad at for us by us when there's peace. But we want to have for us by us when there's turmoil, when there should always be for us by us, no matter what. It should always be like that. So now, as we come together, we have not stuck together through this. So now here we are. We're unheard. We've been quiet for so long that all we can do is riot. You see what I'm saying? All we can do is show our frustration by kicking in doors, by looting, etc. The flip side of it, what can we do? Let me tell you something. When Martin Luther King, and somebody's going to be listening to this saying, okay, this guy, I don't know what he's talking about. When Martin Luther King, in silent protest, decided nobody would ride the bus in Montgomery anymore, it hit them at their pockets. You got it? It hit them at their pockets.
Crystal clear.
Listen. Everybody had station wagons, and they jumped in their station wagons to drop each other from one place to the other. In that Montgomery bus boycott, if they had not come together as one in solidarity, nothing would have happened. We would have been going through the same old, same old. But hold on, my sister. There's also a bunch of people who will always go around saying, why we got to do this? I don't mind taking a bus. See, that's the problem. I don't mind getting on the bus. I don't mind sitting in the back. That's the problem that we have. We need to be brave. We need to step out of our face and be bold. Because I'm proud to be a black man does not make me a racist. You understand what I'm saying? Because I'm proud of my heritage does not make me a racist. So it's really time for us to come together and say, you know what? We're not taking this anymore. It's time. And the number one way, especially coming in November, we got to get to the polls and vote. I know some people will say, voting, what does voting have to do with all of this? It has everything to do with it. When you vote, when you know who your mayor is, when you know who your representatives are in your neighborhoods. Many of us right now, if we ask anyone who's our representative in our neighborhoods right now, most of us don't even know who they are. We don't even know. Some of us don't even know who our Congress people are. And that's where the problem begins. So the right thing to do is to
just getting people to know that they are empowered. I mean, here in my home, I got on the phone and called my local city councilwoman.
There we go.
And had her sitting in my living room.
That's right.
I'm like,
that's
you
right.
need to know and hear from the people who are electing you.
That's right.
I think you're on something there where you're saying, we need to feel empowered to make a difference. Because for a long time, I think, we were just told that, our voices didn't matter and that, but if we can be re-educated and inspired and empowered to know that, yes, you can make a difference.
Yes.
And the people who are in, positions of power, you put them there. You vote.
Exactly.
So, they need to listen to your concerns.
Exactly.
And if they're not, addressing the things that are important to you and that are near and dear to your heart, you have a polling booth.
A total
Make it
right
happen.
to do it. Listen, I want to thank you for, no, really, I want to thank you for calling in because it's important. People do, the two questions you ask, what is our church doing? Don't rely, this is going to be sad to say this, don't rely on your church leaders to make the first move. I'm going to say something and people are going to be upset about this. In the Adventist church, it's the people that run the church, not leader. It's not the leader. It's the people who do the work. If all of us get out there in the community and do what it is that we have to do, not only would the community get better, but the church, you're showing what God is, what Jesus is like. We're operating too much on a political arena and we're not doing enough. We're not doing enough in our community, knowing who our community leaders are. If the first step we got to do, the first step we have to is that we have to be bold. We have to step out. If church was going on right now, everybody should be, we shouldn't even be preaching. We should be out there. We should be out in the streets. And this is the opportunity now that we have to take to get out there. I've seen from Rodney King. I was 21 years old. Come on, I'm turning 50. Okay, I'm turning 50 next month, and this thing have never stopped from that time. It's just kept going and going. It's never eased up. We had a kid in his backyard with a cell phone who got shot how many times? Broad daylight, we have people, black kids being shot. So the point I'm making is, go ahead.
I think another point before you go.
No, sure, go ahead.
You know, we're not alone in this,
right?
And I think it's important for us to, you know, whatever color, whether you're black, you're white, you're pink, you're green, you're purple. You know, when Dr. King was, protesting and marching, he had every race that was there alongside of him. And I think it's important for us, you know, as Christian brothers and sisters, to see each other as brothers and sisters and really empathize with the experiences of our brothers and sisters. And so, you know, encouraging, you know, all of the young people, no matter what race, to say, hey, you can be involved, you can help to advocate and stand in solidarity with, you know, any type of, you know, injustice that you see going on in the world. Yeah.
And you're right about that. And that's why I don't want to split the whites, the blacks, the Hispanics, the Koreans in the Adventist church, the African Americans, the Haitian group. I don't want to split us. We all need to, the Caribbean, we all need to stick together as one. Because solidarity. That's right. We need to, and be bold about it. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to step out. It's okay to get out on 11 o'clock worship. I'm going to say this one thing. Jesus healed on the Sabbath and it got him killed. Okay. That is the time when we should be standing together. We should be working towards one goal to make sure that we get the point across. No more killing. Before someone put their hand on their gun, and remember, this is not just for the police alone. The lady in Central Park, good grief, amazing.
Amy Cooper.
Amy Cooper. Yeah, we say her name, Amy Cooper. Listen, I live in a mixed neighborhood, and I go walking. Yeah. I walk 6 miles a day. I remember the first time I started walking, you see the same people over and over as they're walking. Please hold the line. I'm coming right now. People are walking. I had to say to myself, wait a minute, I can't even wear a hoodie while I walk in the cold. I can't do all these things because people immediately look at me and say, does he live around here? Or who is he? Until 2 months or so later of continuing to walk, now they're waving at me. And now they're saying hello at me. They have to change their mindset. We have to change our mindset. But no more killing. Right. No more killing. And of course, we can get into other.
I really want to thank you
no problem.
much for taking our question. I want to let you know that I'm here with Luce, and she said she wanted to tell you hello. So
that's my girl.
Sure that I got that.
That's my girl. I can't even lie to you. Luce is the one that texted me and woke me up because I was supposed to start at 7 o'clock. And she woke me up. I said, oh, let me hurry up and get going. Luce, it's good to see you. Take care of that baby. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. We have a call coming in, and your number ends with 82. Your number is ending in 82. Go ahead and sound off. Your number is ending in 82. This is our AY program that turned into, I just wanted you to talk about it. Let's talk about it for a few more minutes. Go ahead. Your number ends in 82. You should know your number.
Hey, what's going on, Pat, man? This is Jay Moore, man. How are you?
My dude, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing excellent, man. I'm sitting here watching your program, and I heard the question and just wanted to come in.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Also, offer some solutions. If if you don't mind.
No, come on, please. It's not me alone. Go ahead, talk it through.
It's not me alone. So because I heard the question,
Sure.
and everyone's looking for a solution.
Sure.
And I think you really hit it on the head when you started saying that we got to come together and we have to really get out there. And I would also like to just kind of help out and say we have to ask God what is it that we have to do as people to get, well, as a person, to get better.
Sure.
Because every person is responsible right now. We have allowed every system that the world has offered us to fail us.
Wow.
I think that is the biggest problem that we're all dealing with is the failure of systems, on a global scale. And so, what you being the leader that you are, and the influence that you have, people are looking to you for a solution.
Sure.
Folks are saying, "Hey, Pat, man, can you show me, how does it really work?" And we have to get out there and just show people the right path. Like what does God really want? Like you said, what would Jesus do?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He got killed because of the fact that he was healed on the Sabbath. So what do we got to do on the Sabbath? So that's a question for you.
Sure.
If we were walking in those shoes, Jesus went against the tradition. What should we be doing on Sabbath right now?
Listen, let me tell you something. Jay, life for me has changed, especially at Sabbath. I cannot believe, and I'm not trying to switch it from the conversation, but I realize that we have become so institutionalized on the Sabbath. COVID has taught me that there's so much more that you could do through nature, through evangelistic on the Sabbath than to be cooped up in one place in a sorority and a fraternity house. It has changed. Yeah. It has changed. And when I look at this situation here, I know a lot of people say, okay, Jesus, okay. You say, okay, we need to be godly or we need to be spiritual. That is the bottom line. And don't forget, Jay, Jesus walked into a temple and was angry and turned over tables. Yeah. He was angry.
Yeah.
Okay. And not only, one of the reasons why he was angry, if you could remember this, is because of the injustice that they were doing to poor people in the temple.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one of the things that I've learned about it. It's like, when you think about the widow's mite, or you think about somebody who's coming with all that they had, and they used to put on the scales. They used to make one scale heavier so that they would pay more on the other side. So it would become up equal. Jesus saw all of that going on in the temple. And so just to think right now, the word justice, when we think about justice, we look at the lady that's blindfolded, right? All right. She's blindfolded and she's holding scales, right? And the reason why she's blindfolded is so that she cannot see color. She cannot see weight. She cannot see light skin. She can't see dark skin. She can't see rich. She can't see poor. The lady that's holding those scales is for her to have justice. So basically what we have what's going on right now is that we're afraid to be angry about something because we think that people are going to look at us and say, oh, here go the hoodlums again. Here goes the, And the truth is that if we have Christ in us, we could be angry and not sin. We could do something about it and not sin. Yeah. It's time for us to do something about it. Even in our economic world, even in our finance world that we live in. One of the reasons why we don't want to make a step together in solidarity is because our finances are different. We're afraid that if we don't buy from this grocery store over here, then we won't be able to eat. We're afraid that if we, I go back to Montgomery again. You got to come together under and come together as one to be able to really push the scales over. It's important that we be able to do that. How's business, Jay?
Yeah, business is excellent, man. We are like right now. I talked about this on my podcast this morning. What they did in Montgomery. The fact that they just came together and they went for what they knew would bring them together, but also affect change.
That's right.
So, we all have to take a personal responsibility, to pretty much help. And, the economics is always a good place to start.
Definitely. Definitely.
But also to realize that when God created us, He created us to be powerful.
That's right.
Everyone has an authority.
That's right.
And so part of what I'm seeing in society today is that people aren't walking in authority.
Right.
People are, only walking in the fact that they think that this is all I can have.
Yep.
George Floyd was probably struggling because of what was going on in COVID-19, wanted to make some bad decisions.
That's right.
Runs in with the law.
That's right.
So the fact that the economy hit him and the systems failed him,
right.
He didn't have. At least he thought there was nowhere else to turn. And so here it is. Now he's going to be remembered for hundreds of years.
That's right.
Because of his death, which was unlawful.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, man, we all just, if we can all come together, I think the church, has an awesome responsibility.
And when I think about organizations within the church, I think one of the reasons why I think about Pathfinders in a time like this is because if you notice Pathfinders, Jay, I can't remember. Were you at Oshkosh?
I was there.
That's right. Right. Can you think about what it's like to see 60,000 young people come together, not fighting, not fussing, not carrying on? The rain comes down. Nobody's arguing about it. The play still continues. We have to have a child's heart at this type of thing. We have to have not only a child's heart, but also a militant heart. That's why I like the Pathfinders, because the Pathfinders are disciplined. You understand what I'm saying? Back in the day when anything needed to be done, you called the Pathfinders. Why? Because there's a certain discipline that comes along with that and a certain curriculum that comes along with that. And I'm not just pushing that, just join the Pathfinders. I'm saying they have the principle of togetherness, that when they march as one. If we could do that as a church in all aspects of our church, you'll see things happen. I don't know any not quiet, but most Pathfinders are taught to be bold. Most Pathfinders are taught to be, chest out, be proud. And I think many of us are onlookers just to see what's going to happen next and ride a coattail when all of us should be on the front line. All of us should be on the front line. I'm going to take one more call. I wasn't planning on staying too long on here, but thanks, Jay Moore, for calling. And tell Jacob I said hi. Really, tell Jacob I said hi. All right. I will, man. Okay. Right. We have another call coming in. Your number ends in 23. Your number ends in 23. Go ahead. You're on the air. You're on the air.
Hey, Patrick. This is Rory here. How are you?
Come on, my brother from another father. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Good. Drop some knowledge. What's up?
Great. I've been listening to the program. Great program, man. And some of the questions that were asked, I really wanted to jump in on, and I think two of the questions that were asked.
Sure. Go ahead.
One comment that you made was about the church versus the building. And I think one of the things that COVID-19 has taught us, all of us, is that the church has never been about a building.
Right.
The church is the body of Christ.
That's right.
The body of Christ is not made up of buildings. It's made up of people.
Yep.
So wherever these people who serve God are gathered, whether it be in a forest, in the jungle, or in cyberspace, that's where the church is. And I think we need to get that mindset and adopt that mindset and pivot from this building-centric idea of the church. You know, I think we need to move away from that. I think also, to your point on, you know, the question was asked, what can young people do and what should the church be doing? And why we shouldn't wait on the church to do what we can do. I think the church can do a whole lot, especially regional conferences that are predominant. That are predominantly black. We bank. Regional conferences are multi-million-dollar enterprises. And we bank with the same institutions that have supported the oppression of our people, that have solidified the overarching racialized structures that have oppressed our people. Why do we not move our monies to black-owned banks to make the statement that, listen, we're going to go where we are needed? And not only for the church, for each individual, you and I.
That's right.
We need to start looking at the Bank of America. Where are these people when our black brothers and sisters are killed in the street? You never hear about them. But yet still, the black economy is over $3 trillion. We're consumers, and all our monies are in the chases, the Bank of America and those banks. It is full time. And I'm saying, and I know these are the things that got Martin Luther King killed.
That's right.
When he started to look at things this way, and maybe they'll be coming for me afterwards. I don't know. But as individuals, Patrick, I really believe that it's time for us to begin to look at these institutions differently because they never support us. What are they doing in our communities? They have all our money, but none of our money comes back into our communities. Did you know that $1 from the black community spends less than an hour in the black community?
Mercy.
Spends less, I think it spends something like 5 minutes in the community.
Mercy.
That's how long the dollar stays that we earn. But yet in the other communities, it's staying like 23 days up to 60 days in the community.
Mercy.
How can our communities grow if we do not take control of the economy? As Seventh-day Adventists, we have a responsibility to look at the most strategic ways of doing things. I want to leave you with this.
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I want to leave you with this final thing, Patrick, because I know you might have other callers.
No, go ahead.
I think it was Joshua went up against AI, and AI routed them because prior to that, Achan had stolen some stuff that he wasn't supposed to steal in the Bible, and hid it in his tent. And Joshua came before God and prostrated himself and rented his clothes and fasted and prayed, Father, why you allowed him to embarrass us like this? And here's what God said to you. What are you doing on your face? Get up and go and do what needs to be done.
That's right.
We know what needs to be done, Patrick.
That's right.
We've seen this historically. We know that we need to take control of our finances, take control of our economy, hit them where it hurts, move it out of their way, and begin to utilize it ourselves to build our people.
That's right. We
know that we must demonstrate what godly protest is. We know that we must do justly and walk humbly. What does the Lord require of you?
Yeah.
To do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly before our God.
I
believe that we know what to do.
I don't see any of the three, what you said, I don't see any of those three as being anything sacrilegious or anything downplaying. I think it's actually great. I watched a movie the other day called The Banker. When you get a chance, check that out.
Yeah, I saw it.
Man,
My wife and I watched it.
yep,
Too, yeah.
amazing, amazing. And it's funny. As soon as I watched that, I said to myself, where are the? Well, I know in New York, but where are the black-owned banks? You remember when he was giving loans to his to the people to be able to build the community back up. I'm not against Jews at all. I mean, I live in New York with Hasidic Jews, but they're not even moving out those communities, and the where they live, it's like. When there's gentrification, they're not even moving out of gentrification. But you're exactly right about that, and that's the reason why I don't know if you heard me earlier talk about the regional conferences and coming out in the 1945, and how the church thought that they were going to fail. The church said, "Oh, don't worry about it. Let them go ahead and start the regional conferences. They're going to fail." Meanwhile, you're exactly right about it. Even now, a couple of years ago, well, I shouldn't say a couple of years ago, when I came into the work in 2001, we had regional conferences have their own retirement. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you get a couple of treasurers together and decide that we're going to get our own retirement because we can't deal with this anymore, that's monumental moves. But the monumental moves should not stop there. It needs to continue from there. It needs to move on from there. So even though we start a regional conference, monumental, that's great. Even though we have our own retirement now, okay, that's great. But there's still more. Rory, I don't mean to take this to another level, but I've always believed that we need our own schools. We need schools we need our schools that don't cost. The amount of money that it costs to have your child go into an Adventist school is absolutely preposterous. It's ridiculous. So anyway, you're talking about solidarity. You're talking about come together as one. You're talking about a financial type thing. If half of our people will come together under one movement, it'll change the world. It'll change the whole world.
Absolutely.
Just like the pandemic, it will change the world right around. The problem is that we're like crabs in a barrel. All right. And that is one of the main problems that we have. We can't, now we turn around to rioting. Now we're turning around and I know I heard what Martin Luther King said about those who riot or those who are unheard, et cetera, et cetera. I understand that. But we are educated. We are people that need to come together and educate each other. Our Muslims need to come together with the Christians. The Christians need to come together. And I'm not talking about religious wise. I'm talking about oneness. Need to come together and to be able to move the hands. And believe it or not, it can happen. It can happen.
Yes,
Why talk about something that can't happen? It can literally happen. But we have to do the right type of protest. That I agree with. The right type of protest.
Absolutely. But also, I think we also have to remember that the protest that we're seeing right now is just a symptom of a confluence of events that has happened over the years. It's a continuum of events that have begun for multiple years. And finally, after a while, frustration builds up just like a volcano. Here you have a bubbling volcano and then you go to sulfur in it. What's going to happen?
That's right.
Not saying it's right, but here's the responsibility that we have. We have a responsibility to develop a framework of communication that will allow our people to be able to communicate their needs in a way that is wholesome and beneficial. And I will continually go back to the finances.
Yes.
Boss, if you take your money out of the white bank and go to a black bank, I'll follow you. And the next person follows me.
It'll cripple the system.
Song says, you remember this song? It only takes a spark, it's a fire going. I think the writer died a couple of years ago, maybe a year or two ago. And soon all those around will warm up to it flowing. It takes one spark for us to make that move. And once we begin to make that move, you will have that domino effect.
Yes.
And then you'll be able to have the impact, because all that really matters to people in this world this almighty dollar. And if we shift that, then you're going to hear a different story.
And that I believe. This is my man from Brooklyn. I really appreciate it. Not going to take too long to be on the line. I need a little bit of Saturday night for myself. Tell wifey I'll give her a call. I know I owe her a phone call, but I want to thank you so much. I think those that are listening, even by what I'm seeing here, they're resonating with you. That hey, when you hit them at their pockets, when you hit them at things change when you hit them at their pockets. And you're totally right about that. Listen, thanks. I really appreciate it. Somebody even in the conversation is listing the black banks. We do have black banks. They're out there. We do have black owned banks. Listen, I appreciate it. And I'll tell your father that you said hi.
Yeah, please do. Love you all, man.
Yes, man. Program, man. Yeah, God bless. God bless.
Give him a big hug for me when this thing ends, right?
Listen, he don't allow us in the house, right?
Yeah, that's a good thing, man.
Good to see you, my brother. We'll talk.
Take it easy, man.
All right.
Bye-bye.
I know this all started off just, because we wanted to, it's very difficult to come together at a time like this and not have the conversation. I'm not super versed on the conversation. One of the things that I'd like to let you know that this Tuesday coming up, all the youth directors are coming together to talk about this, to be able to speak through this. And you'll see the advertisement go on. Please check beta.org, or please take the time to check out Beta on Facebook, because we are going to have a discussion about it. It's going to start at 7 o'clock to 8:30 on Tuesday night. 7 o'clock to 8:30 on Tuesday night. We got all the youth directors. There's even some past youth directors, and we're pulling together the black youth directors to just have a conversation about this. Beta, we're still strong. We're still moving. We're just taking care of our areas right now. But listen, AYS, I'm just going to say this on our way out. Please, let's make sure we form like Voltron. Only those who are my age will understand that. We'll come together like Voltron. We got to come together, not only for this political situation that's going on, not only for this racial situation that's going on, but we need to come together spiritually, because without God, we will fail. Anyway, I just want to thank everyone for hanging with us this evening. Some of you have been with us all day long. From 10 o'clock this morning, we had Children and Youth Day all the way through. Had activities at 3 o'clock, activities at 4 o'clock, activities at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And now for the 7 o'clock, I know I started a little bit late. Thanks for coming on board. If you don't know how to start AYS, please, we'll tell you. It just starts with a discussion. Bring our young people together. Let them know that you care. It doesn't have to be on a Saturday night. It could be on any time, any fashion. Just allow them the opportunity to speak, and you speak life into them. Listen, I just want to pray. I want to thank all of you who held on through this. Share this with someone you love. I'm sure there was something that was said sometime today, this evening, that has helped someone and calmed someone's spirit. Let's just make sure that, as angry as we might be, let's not sin, let's not loot, let's not go crazy. Let's just simply make the changes that need to be changed. Let's pray together. God, we thank you, and we ask you now that even though we sign off of the internet, we won't sign off from your presence. We love you. We appreciate all that you have done and will do for us. Continue to bless the Allegheny East Conference, Lord, and help us to recognize that all of our urban areas, even in our dark areas, God, you're there. You've always been in control. You've never left us nor forsaken us. We thank you. We appreciate you. And when you come, we ask you to save us. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Enjoy the rest of the night together. Have a good one. God bless you. Real good.